A nonprofit taking action to support those directly impacted by the war in Ukraine. Joining us right now is an author who was once a former KGB Most Wanted person, Joseph Bondarenko, and his daughter Vera, who will be translating for us today. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for taking the time.
Good morning.
Спасибо, что вы пригласили. Good morning.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
It's my pleasure during such a difficult time. But before we get to anything that we're doing to help out the folks, give us a little background on your story. Joseph, you especially, how long have you been in the U.S. And how did you end up here? And how did you end up leaving your home country?
Да, 23 года.
Мы уже в Америке 23 года.
We have been in America for 23 years. Приехали с Украины.
Приехали с Украины, советской коммунистической Украины.
I was born in the Soviet Ukraine, and we came here after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Через многие трудности и испытания, но Бог помог.
We have been through many difficulties and many persecution as Christians, but God helped us to go through that.
We're looking at some of the pictures that you sent us. Thank you for that, by the way. But what's fascinating more than anything is that, Joseph, you were on the KGB's Most Wanted list. Tell the people why you were on that list and how scary that must have been.
В то время не было свободы вероисповедания и свободы слова. КГБ преследовали меня за это.
At that time in the Soviet Union, there was no freedom of religion, no freedom of speech, and because of my faith in God, KGB persecuted me.
Зато за мою веру, за мое вероисповедание.
And for my personal convictions about God.
За то, что я был пастором и активным религиозным деятелем.
Because I was a pastor of a Christian church and a very active Christian leader at the time.
Я не молчал.
And I could not be silent. I spoke out about my faith.
И защищал права человека.
And also stood for human rights and the rights of believers that were in prison at the time.
За это я был на списке у КГБ.
And because of that, I was on their list.
Особенно я противостоял против тоталитарного режима.
Because we all, as people of free will, we united to stand against totalitarian regime in the Soviet Union.
И когда я организовал делегацию в Москву, чтобы ходатайствовать за освобождение узников.
And I was able to organize a big protest in Moscow to intercede for people that were in prison at the time.
Это вызвало особую ярость у правительства.
And that was very furious. The communists were very furious, and because of that, after that, shortly.
И вскоре я был арестован.
And shortly after that, I was imprisoned.
Я подробно расписал в своей книге.
And in my autobiography, there is a story of my life.
Wow, unbelievable. Obviously, 30 years ago, with the fall of the Soviet Union, the fall of the Berlin Wall, it must be just soul-crushing to see this happening 30 years later. What was your reaction, you too, Vera, when you saw what started happening when Putin decided we're coming back into Ukraine?
И когда началось вторжение в Украину, какая ваша реакция?
Это было особое эпохальное время.
Нет, сейчас, то, что сейчас произошло, вторжение Путина, какие ваши реакции в Украине?
Мое личное, конечно, это большие переживания, большая боль.
I can only say that it's so heartbreaking and it's just aching our hearts and our lives right now.
Это моя родина.
Because this is the land where I grew up.
Это мой многострадальный народ.
And this is my people and people that suffered so much already.
Пережившие уже войны, голод.
And my people have suffered so much throughout history with a lot of famine and difficulties and trials.
И сегодня это необыкновенные страдания.
And today we cannot even fathom the suffering of my people today.
I wanted to ask how the people there are surviving right now in spite of this daunting task before them with the Russians coming in. But I think a lot of people are learning of the spirit and the resolve of the Ukrainian people that perhaps the rest of the world didn't really know.
Видят и сейчас, которые не знали.
Украинский мой родной народ очень добрый,
I can tell you that Ukrainian people are incredibly kind and very generous people and very hospitable people.
И старается делиться каждый
And
последним
right
кусочком
now, to be
хлеба.
able to survive, they try to help each other in every single way they possibly can. They're sharing just a piece of bread,
Помогать
maybe
друг
some
другу.
water, and they're helping each other.
Имея даже минимальные кто-то запасы, сразу
And
делится
some
с
people that
другими.
had a little bit more than others, they're sharing, they're trying to help.
Can I ask you,
all of-
you guys have friends and family still there, and I know from our conversations there are people hiding out in basements of churches. How are those folks doing right now? Have you reached out to them? Have you been able to talk to them?
Сейчас.
Да, у меня очень много друзей и
Yes, we have a lot
родственники
of friends and relatives
в различных городах,
in many different cities.
прячутся в подвалах.
Yes, we have families that are currently in the basement trying to hide and
And we're
hiding.
looking at video right now they sent to you, correct? This is them in the basement of the church.
Yes, this is the
Wow.
basement of the church. Yes, that's correct. We just received it.
Особо в Мариуполе
And right now in Mariupol, where I have so many
пастор
friends,
церкви
and
сообщил, мой друг,
a pastor who is a friend of mine,
о том, что Мариуполь окружен в кольце.
that Mariupol is under heavy siege, and we are losing contact with them. There is no electricity.
Им особо трудно, и уже попрощался, вряд ли мы выживем.
And he just said, I don't know if I will talk to you again.
Потому что враг очень разрушает
Because
дома,
there
квартиры,
is a lot of
улицы.
artillery happening and a lot of going on, and people are scared and have no water pretty much and have no food.
I wanted to ask you before we let you go, how hopeful are you right now? Where is, I know you're an optimistic man, you're a hopeful man, but seeing what you're seeing, where is that hope right now?
Где ваша надежда сейчас?
Ну, у нас большая надежда и упование на Бога.
When in my experience and in my faith, I know that we have trust in God and God is going to protect.
Высокий дух народа,
And I believe that the spirit of people too,
оптимизм,
and optimism that a lot of people have for their country,
научены страдать и выживать,
because they have already had the experience of suffering and trying to survive.
научены, если надо, и умирать,
And many people are willing to even die for the countrymen.
но стоять и быть бескомпромиссными.
And they're standing and in a high spirit.
I think a lot of folks here are I guess, surprised at what they're seeing, people willing to stay back and take up arms to defend their land and defend their country. If folks want to help here, I know you guys have a fundraising happening. I think at last check when we spoke yesterday, $35,000 were raised out of the $100,000 you're hoping to get. How can folks help?
Как вы можете помочь?
О, да, очень ищем различные пути помощи.
Yes, we're now joining all of the efforts of the trusted people on the ground to help people that are being fleeing, for example.
Стараемся организовать там, чтобы печь где-то в подвалах
And right
хлеб.
now in the Kyiv region, we want to, we're trying to put together a bakery to bake fresh bread for people, kids, and also soldiers.
Перевести детей и рожениц, которые родили
And
детей в
yesterday
других.
we were able to help 2 little kids that were born in the basement to put them to safety
Более
with their
безопасное
mothers.
место.
And
Хотя
the safety place
born
for their
in the
mothers.
basement.
рисковано жизнью.
You know what
Yes.
you guys are doing from, I know you guys are here in Southern California, and home is so far away, but it's near and dear as well. We're going to try to help. We're going to put up a link to the Good Call Ministries on our website and try to share that as much as possible. We thank you both for taking the time. Hopefully maybe we'll speak to you again under better circumstances. Thank you both, Joseph Bondarenko and Vera. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.